Welcome back. Part two of clone components with React. And we're building this tags component from the YouTube upload page. And this is part two. So clearly there's a couple problems with our component right now. First of all, we've got a tag in there, but our input is still showing the placeholder for 1, and for 2, it's now on a new line. So we need to make sure that this placeholder is not shown and that this input appears where it should appear right after our first tag. So you can see in the real component, that's how it should be right there. So let's fix that. Okay, so with our style components, here's our tags wrapper right here. So we've got our tags and we're mapping over each tag and our tag input inside of this tags right here. And if we go up and look, tags does have display flex wrap. The reason why it's doing it is because right now the width of our input is 100%. So we need it to not have that width of 100% unless there are no tags present. And same thing with the placeholder. When we have no tags, we want to see it. When we have even one tag, it goes away. So we're going to pass in a prop called tags. And that's basically going to be tags.length. But we want to make sure that's a Boolean, because right now tags.length would be 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. To make it a Boolean, we could either go double whammy there, not tags, or just use Boolean like that, a Boolean constructor, which will automatically convert whatever this number is. If it's 0, 0 is going to be, of course, false. Any other number is going to be true. So we'll pass that into the tags component, and then we can come up in here, and while we're at it, pass in that same thing to the tag input so we can deal with the placeholder. And I'm going to pass in the tag itself, but let's not worry about that just yet. So first thing, up in tags, oh, I don't think I needed to pass it into tags. Tag input for now is what we're dealing with. Sorry about that. The tag input has a width of 100%, and that's the problem why the input's going to the second line. So get rid of the width here, and in our attributes, we can actually put a style in there and make that an object. So we can say width and make that based on props. We can say props.tags, meaning if we have tags, we want the width of the tag input to be something. Otherwise, we want it to be 100%. And this is why I passed in tag. So just to clarify, we're up here and this is a direct object return here. That's why it's got the parentheses and then the braces instead of just the braces. With the parentheses, we were literally returning this object as the attributes object. Within this object, we're returning a style object. And I'm putting the style up here just to show you. And another thing is there is a difference between, because this is inside of a string literal, that's why we have to use the $ and that curly bracket syntax there. Here, we're just using, this is JavaScript. And this is string. This is actual JavaScript. So This is why I passed in the actual value of the tag. So what we're going to say is the width of this tag input is going to be props.tag.length times 8, right? Let's say plus 1, that parenthesis there. So basically the width can't be 0. So even if the tag length is 0, we'll say that the width is going to be 8. It's the smallest it can be, basically. Of course, that's only if there are tags. If there are no tags, the width is going to be 100, so we can see that placeholder. And here's another thing. If we don't change the placeholder, I'll show you the problem. So now, oh, we add a tag, and now our cursor is on the same line, but see, now we have this 8-pixel long input, and you can see the beginning of the placeholder. So we need to also get rid of that placeholder when we have tags. So all you have to do is say props.tags. We have tags. Hey, no placeholder. Otherwise, back to our placeholder. So now, boom. Now it's all good. So that's working well. Another thing we could change is we can make the font accurate. I'm just going to copy and paste some code, and I got to put a bunch of links in the description, but this is a little bit longer, and you'd have to pause the video to get the actual thing. But I'm bringing in a font here, using the font face, and I've got this link. That's basically the Roboto font. So now we can use the Roboto font. So you can just set the font family to Roboto. Domo arigato, Roboto. Get Arial as a backup, I guess. So when you set that, inspect it real quick. Font family, Roboto. All right, so that's good. And we look over here. At their font size, 13 pixels. I think we might have already said that. Let's see, font size, 13 pixels. Okay, so that's all good. Okay, so doing pretty good. Now the next tricky part is we can enter a tag with a comma. But here's another thing, like where's the cursor now? That thing is so small, you have to come over and click on it to get your cursor back. So what's up with that? I think we want to make the font on the actual tag smaller too. I think that might be a little big. So first things first, font on the tag. Where's the tag? Here's the tag. Okay. Font size 13 pixels on the actual tag. Okay, that's better. That looks a lot better. It was too big before. It was default size, whatever that was, 15 maybe. Okay, so we want to make it so when you click on this thing, you get it just like the kind of goal is to make this outer box appear like it is an input. sort of its own, you know, when it's really just a div. So we got to make it so, look, it takes like 4 clicks just to get the cursor back. So how are we going to do that? We're going to use a ref. All right. So up here, right underneath state, you just say input equals react.create ref that. And down here, our tag input, assign that ref as this dot input. Basically, we can do a few things with that now. So one thing we can do is we can make just call it on input click. We can say this dot input dot current dot focus. And right here, after we press enter, we can actually put a comma there and just put a callback function in. You can say, we can just say this dot on input click if we want. Or, I mean, you could do either way. You could say this dot input dot current dot focus, or you could just call the function. It doesn't really matter which one you do. So on this outer tags container, we can say on click this dot on input click. That. So now when we come back in, boom, we enter a tag, our cursor's still there, we come off it, click way over here, and our cursor will be selected, even though in reality, our input is that big right there. So that's a pretty cool use of the ref right there. What else can we do? Next thing we need to do is, okay, we gotta, looks like there might be a little, could be more space between the X. Maybe we need to put a little space between the X, and we need to make that X work. We gotta delete the tag somehow. So first thing, let's just make that little spacing before I forget. Margin right, 5 pixels for the, oh wait. There's a span in there. The span contains the actual text. So why don't we say, why don't we just say margin right 2.5 pixels? That might help. Give me some space. All right, that looks a little better. All right, now we need to make that work. We need to make that X work. We need to remove a tag when we want to. Can't just keep adding tags forever. All right, so let's make another method to the madness here, and we'll call this on tag delete. And that's going to take an index. So basically when we map over the tags, we're getting this index, and we're going to use that index to come back up to our array and pluck out the tag that gets clicked. That's how we're going to know which tag gets clicked. All right, so we can do that almost in one file swoop. We can just call this dot set state, and I'll show you a different way to set state. You can call, instead of saying this dot set state, state the name, basically the name like tag. We can actually use it as a function. So you can, basically this is saying a function of state, and then we can return an object that has, you know, our state in it like that. So, but we're going to destructure the state we care about over on this side. So that's tags. So we do structured tags off a state like that, and then we can return a function here. Just to simplify things, we can say tags.filter, and right here what we're basically doing is we're saying, all right, whatever state, we'll get the current state of tags, and then we're going to set the state of the new state for tags as tags.filter. And when we're filtering, how we're going to filter is we're going to take that index and we're going to only allow back indexes that are not that index, meaning everything that was not clicked we're getting back. So since we're pushing in the tags in order and they appear in order, we can use this just like that. So that's pretty easy and straightforward. So this close button here, we can say, or close icon, we can say on click. And since we're passing a variable, we have to make it sort of callback style. This dot on tag delete and pass in that index right there, just like that. Save it and see if we've got it working. So I keep using React as the tag. It's the only thing in my mind. YouTube, React, whatever. So boom, boom, boom. Pretty cool. It works. So that's good. And there's only a couple more things to wrap this up, really. One thing is you can enter tags in on a comma here. So, you know, React, comma, whatever, comma, and comma enters in a tag in YouTube, but in ours, you have to hit enter. So we say React, comma, whatever, and that ends up being a dumb tag. Usually tags are comma separated, so we want to add that feature as well. So the key code for comma is 188. So basically, right here we're doing the same thing. Just add the key code equals 188. We'll do the same function. Let's see how that works first of all. So React, comma, whatever, comma. Wait a second. That comma, we got our React tag right, but that comma is hanging out and we don't want it to be hanging out. So there's probably a bunch of different ways to deal with this comma. I'll show you how I dealt with it when I was just looking at this component and I wanted to figure it out. I said, let me find a regular expression that can put the kibosh on it. So on change, this is where the text is being dealt with. So basically, I'm going to paste in my regex here and explain it. So basically, RE stands for regular expression, and I use the 2 forward slashes and the comma, meaning that, and the $, meaning that if the comma is the last character, that's what the $, means. So if the comma is the last character, well, that's what this regex right here is set up to find that, but you have to put it into some sort of function or something. So I'm saying if re.testValue, basically it's going to test whatever the value is, and if it passes, if it says yes, the last thing is a comma, I just return before setting that value to state. Essentially, to walk you through it, show you. We say React, comma, whatever. It basically just skips over the comma. So each time you press the key, that on change gets fired. So it already has a hit comma, and it just pretends like I never hit it. So that's kind of a tricky way to get rid of a comma and get your tag in there in a comma. So the last thing we need to do is deal with the backspace. So in the YouTube version, you hit backspace it works normally if there's something there. As soon as there's nothing there, you hit it once and it doesn't get rid of it all the way. It gets rid of it part of the way and highlights it. And then you hit it again and it goes away. So that's pretty cool. So let's try to figure that out. So that's another on key down function. And I'm just going to save the suspense and tell you what the key code is right away. So else if key code is 8. That's backspace. Key code is backspace. This is what we're going to do. We're going to once again get this off of state. And you could, yes, you could put this up here, but whatever. I'm not going to destructure state because every time a key gets pressed, this function runs. And who cares? You could do it. I don't think it really matters in the long run if you destructure it both at once. But I want to deal with tag and tags scoped in the if blocks. I'm just going to keep everything scoped. So that's why I did it that way. So, all right, you've hit the backspace button. Now, we don't want, when do we not want it to work? We want it to work like normal if there's any sort of tag, right? So we'll say if tag.length, right? If the tag has any sort of length, we just want to return out of there. We don't want to do anything special. We just want it to do its normal ass function, which is delete a letter, right? Or if there are no tags, there's basically no point in running the function either, because this whole thing is to delete a whole tag. There's no reason to run it if we don't have tags. So under those two circumstances, we return. Now, we can say tags.pop, and that removes the last item of an array. And then we can say this.setState tags, right? See what happens. I'm going to say React, whatever. And now we hit back, or we can, okay. Oh, it's working, right? It's working? Okay, it got rid of the whole entire tag. That's not exactly what we wanted. Crazy amount of errors in there. That's not exactly what we wanted. So how are we going to do? So when we pop something, we actually get that value. So we can say, and just say const x equals tags.pop. Then we can reset the value of tag to x, like that. And then here's the real secret. Another callback function. This time we'll say this.input.current.select. Right? So React, whatever, karate. Now, oh, wait a second. Houston, we have a problem. What is that problem? The problem is that backspace, hide that. This backspace message is actually deleting. So we're selecting something, right? And this took me a little while to figure out. But the default assignment, when you hit backspace, it's gonna, right? It's gonna delete. Let me do it somewhere else. Okay, so if I have something highlighted and I hit backspace, it's gonna delete that whole block. So I suppose one thing you could do is maybe try to delay selection. So first thing I tried to do, I think, was delay selection. I said, well, let me try to call a set timeout. Second, say. Maybe this will give you a better idea of what's happening. I hope this illustration works right. So you see there? Now it works, but that R went away. The last R went away because that backspace is just saying delete whatever's there, just delete something. But I didn't select everything until a delay of a second. That way I saved the rest of it. Had that selection not been delayed a second, you can't even see it happen so fast, but that whole whatever gets selected and the default backspace runs right over it. So, all right, the tricky part is you don't want to use this set timeout. That's just a way to show you what's actually happening. All right, we get rid of that set timeout. And then right after this catch to block the function, we say e dot prevent default, like a function like that. Oh, but that's a problem. Why? Because I destructured C code because I thought I was cool. All right, so we'll put E back in there. And then we can just say that's key code equals E, okay? So I thought I was cool, but I wasn't. All right, so E.PreventDefault, let's see what happens. React, whatever. Backspace. Oh my God, there's the whole word, whatever. Oh, there's the whole word React, boom. Okay, that's pretty cool. So that's pretty much the whole component. There's one more thing you can do. For example, they don't allow one-letter tags or no-letter tags like that. YouTube's not going to have that. You can't do that in YouTube, right? So that's one thing. So there's this format tag function I came up with. And another thing in YouTube, say you do what about a ridiculous amount of spaces, and it just consolidates. You can only have one space between words. So I made a formatting function here. It can actually live outside of the class because it really doesn't deal with state, but it formats the tag here, and it takes a string, it trims it, any space off both ends, not in the middle, only off the ends, turns it to lowercase because I want my tags to be lowercase. Okay, that's just me. And then it's going to replace, okay, this thing here, it's going to say it looks for a space, and hey, if there's a space with multiple spaces after it, no matter how many times that appears, so we're going to replace that with a single space. And then we're also going to replace anything that's not. This caret means not a lowercase letter, not a number, not a dash, or you can add your own, you can put in, well, I want to keep, I like the @ symbol, I like the hashtag symbol, I like this, I like that, or a space, it's going to get rid of it. So, you can basically put in whatever characters you want to keep in there. So say all I want my tags is letters, numbers, and dashes. Okay, cool. But I want the hashtag symbol, I want that, I want that. I can show you that. So where would you put that format? Where would you put that format tag function in? When you're adding tags, right? So right here, format tag, pass in the tag, of course, like that. That's where you use it. And then you can easily just say here, well, actually what I would first, actually, let me back up. Before you just willy-nilly push it in there, you can do a little check on it. You can say const x